Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the crunkest show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone, the best in the business. And I'm going to say my man Donovan Siddiqui on his way. I got the queen, Demetra K, and I am the five-star general. St. Lavar Ball and did it again, man. He did it again, man. He say, what he say, D? Ain't nothing but hoes. He trying to keep them hoes away from his son. We gonna talk about it. Let's go. Say, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone, man, and tell you thank you for tuning in. Because without you, we wouldn't have a show. We wouldn't be able to do the things we do and have the conversations that we have if we didn't have the best audience in the world. So I appreciate you guys as well as the co-hosts. They appreciate you guys. The team appreciates you guys for tuning in because you could be doing something totally different. Today in the news, I kind of scanned over some stuff, but the jackass of the day yesterday on the Warzone morning show was James Harden, who turned down probably the richest contract ever in the NBA, which was about $50 million per season. And his rationale is he doesn't want to play for Tillman Fertitta because Fertitta supports Trump. And you know what I'm going to say about that? James, you're full of it. 99% of pro sports owners are Republicans. You knew that before you came. But the thing is people are like, well, some people, they don't want to lose him. I've always believed that if somebody doesn't want to play for you, let them go. Now, the only thing I'll tell the Houston Rockets, do not be the Houston Texans with what they did with DeAndre Hopkins. If he want to go, let him go. Just make sure you get what you're supposed to get for him. And to me, that's about 4 first-round picks for somebody that's won the scoring title for like the last 3 out of 4 years. So, I know some of his people watch this show, so I'm not going to hold my tongue. We will never win a championship with you, Mr. Harden. You can get your shit and you can leave, and it doesn't matter to us. Because if you don't want to be here, homeboy, we don't want you. Demetra?
Yeah, there's got to be something else going on with other than Trump. And if it is because of Trump, he's ridiculous. Why are you gonna let Trump cost you $50 million a year? It's just pure silliness. I don't think that's the whole story, but I could be wrong. But anyway, also on the news, Joe Biden, as you guys know, is in transition to taking the White House in 2021. Him and Kamala Harris, and they are talking about putting a lot of people in their cabinet positions. And one of those people are Rahm Emanuel. You guys might have remembered him. He was Obama's chief of staff for a while, and then he left to pursue the mayoralship in Chicago. And he was a mayor, I think maybe, was it 2 terms? At least 1 term, right? Maybe it was 2 terms. The mayor of Chicago. The people in Chicago did not love Rahm Emanuel. Crime and deaths went up quite a bit under his leadership as mayor there. Most notably, the Laquan McDonald murder of his police officers took place there in Chicago. You guys remember Laquan McDonald was running away from the scene, and Jason Van Dyke shot him in his back several times. It took them forever to bring Jason Van Dyke to justice. He was ended up being sentenced to like 80-something months in prison. But, this is who Joe Biden is thinking about bringing to the White House as his Secretary of Transportation. At least his name has been floating around with that. But I want you guys to pay attention to the people that Joe Biden is bringing into his cabinet, including that of Kamala Harris, who has done a lot of adverse things to Black people when she had various positions in California. Now he's thinking about Rahm Emanuel, who had to be made to bring Jason Van Dyke to justice and to come to reckon with the brutality of the Chicago PD. And so I'm just telling you guys that, For those of you guys who voted for Joe Biden, you are getting more of the same. He's staffing, or he's thinking about anyway, staffing his cabinet with people who have just basically raked black people over the coals. And so everything remains to be seen.
Well, that's not unusual. Like I teach people about the Bushes, how the young Bush ended up with like 92% of his father's old cabinet, just in different positions. Um, it's not very many that they can pick from that have the qualifications to hold, the positions that they have. But it's what it is, man. I mean, I don't expect us to get much out the game with Joe, and I'm not gonna drag him tonight. I mean, because he's only doing what's been done before he even sat in the seat. I think Trump was the one that was a little bit different because he didn't have political experience, so he wouldn't gotten anybody to do anything. But most of these people just grab from other cabinets and they build their cabinets, and then we end up where we at. My biggest concern is the Secretary of Education, making sure that we get the right person in there. And then I did read an article today where Joe has executive power to do away with student loans. Now he can do that without going through, the red tape. And what would it hurt? I mean, look at all these other countries that are thriving and they've gotten rid of student loans. They allow these kids to go to school for free. And I think America needs to look at where we are and look at where other countries are and what they're doing and why they're thriving. And we may need to emulate some of the things that they're doing. But doesn't surprise me with Joe, doesn't even upset me. I just want to see the whole cabinet built before I make a determination on some people. But I'm definitely keeping my eyes on the Secretary of Education because that's my playground right there.
Yeah, well, I'm not in love with Emanuel either. You know, he has done, some pretty. He even hasn't looked out for black people at all, even though he was Obama's right hand man. So I think we should, I don't think we should have a wait and see. I'm gonna have a little bit of feedback. I don't think we should have a wait and see mentality when it comes to waiting for Joe Biden to pick things. I'm with Sean King when he says, no, we need to keep the pressure on them now. Don't go and put people in there who's going to F up the rotation for a year or so and then say, oh, okay, you know what, that didn't work. No, pick good people now. Rahm Emanuel didn't do right by black people when he was in Chicago, and he's not going to do right by black people depending on what the situation he gets. He's not going to do right by us now. Like, why? But see, Joe has a pattern. He's continuing to put people in there who are status quo. And he said that to us. I am going to continue to status quo. And he's, doing everything that he said he's going to do. And so I'm not optimistic right now with his choices, but, I could be wrong.
I totally agree with Sean. I mean, but that's not me and your responsibility because we didn't vote for him. I think that's on the people that voted for him to hold him accountable. Now, if they choose not to, then you will suffer the consequences. You will look like a fool for not holding him accountable. I will give kudos to my good friend down here who's very, very active, in politics, Mr. Robert Williams, who was on our show months ago. And Robert is making some moves that are just amazing. And Robert is finna try to hold him accountable. Ain't no games with Robert and that coalition that he has. And it is what it is. And for me, I mean, holding him accountable, it's not my job. I didn't vote for him. So, it's not my job. I mean, other things in the news too, because we waiting on old Donovan to show up. He had something he had to do. It came up today in the New York Times that according to Joe Biden worker Dallas Jones, that he was not grabbed by the feds. He was not fired from the campaign. I call bullshit. I mean, it's been like a month, dude, and now you just opening your mouth. say, I'm gonna just say this here, man. I ain't got no disrespect towards nobody, but I don't know any inside information on that. But I just know I can smell BS from a mile away. That's all it boils down to with me. It doesn't matter if you were snatched. It doesn't matter if he was picked up. I mean, they are in denial right now, saying that nobody cheated. This was the most secure election in the history of elections, which is straight up bullshit. No, it wasn't. You know the cheating went on. But that tells me, okay, as long as Trump calms down, we're not going to prosecute him. We're not going to prosecute the other people. They just want the problem to go away. But I think the X factor in all of that is you do not control the F to the B to the I. And somewhere down the line, I think the chicken's going to come home to roost.
And I want to touch upon the whole student loan thing. Yes, so Joe Biden and them are talking about getting rid of maybe about $10,000 of everybody's student loans. But it is said that student loans have surpassed that of credit card debt. Student loan debt is about 1.7 trillion dollars or something like that. And so a lot of other companies, big companies, have gotten bailouts to the tune of trillions of dollars. And so $10,000 is not going to even scratch the surface. I think they said the average American has about, I don't know, $30,000 to $40,000 in student loan debt. So I think they can afford to get rid of it all and give people a clean slate. But $10,000, it's a joke at this point. It's a joke. And, you know, for some people, yeah, it'll be helpful, but for most people, it will not be.
I don't think, you know, being a poor person that's going to school myself, you know, 10,000 would help. But I'm saying we're supposed to be one of the richest countries in the world. It's not hard to get rid of student loan debt, and especially poor kids who end up coming out of college and their student loans are actually more than their actual mortgage for their homes. I mean, these kids can't make the adjustment. They can't get on their feet because they're saddled with these loans that just are going to run them in the ground for about the next 10 to 15, 20 years. And, you know, we have to make college less affordable. I mean, we have to make it more affordable. And we have to use some rationale in this, man. I mean, you keep pushing our children through school, forcing them basically to accept the fact that they have to go to college. Okay, I get it. But at the same time, it's not affordable. It's just not affordable for some of these people to even take these loans and be able to do what they do. But if he knock off 10K, then take the 10K and run, man, because that's 10,000 less you got to pay. But I think, and just like you, he can get rid of all of it if he wants. He can get rid of all of it. I mean, do something. When are one of these presidents going to do something extraordinary? When are they going to do something cutting edge, man? Come on, let's stop playing the game, man. But I think if they can keep you in debt, they can control your life. And that's how I feel about it. And I just think that it needs to go. And Angela, I told you to inbox me your number. You say no one cheated. Inbox me your number. And I tell you what, if I can prove you wrong, then you are punished, little mama. Big Daddy gonna punish you if I prove you wrong. That means I'm gonna sit you down for a whole month away from the war zone if I can prove you wrong. The one thing you're gonna learn about Gary Monroe is when I say something, I already know. And this ain't me reading no newspaper, none of this. I bet you wrong. Take the bet. Send me your number. Or I inbox you mine. And let's stop talking about it. Let's be about it.
And how you doing, Ron Troy? You say take what you can get. Something is better than nothing. No. In my Kamala Harris voice, are you kidding me? No. That's our money. What do you mean take what we can get? Even if you have student loans, you still paying taxes. So that's our money. Give the American people a break. And we talk about a real break. We ain't talking about no funky little $10,000. Let's talk about something significant that's a game changer for people. Like Gary said, They're, these millennials and hell, the people in my generation, hell, and people in my mama's generation still got student loan debt. Yeah, I know somebody gonna get in the comment section saying, well, you chose to go to school, blah, 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 blah. But to Gary's point, education is not affordable. When I was going to school right at the high school in 1989, so, college units were $2 and $3 a piece. I don't even know what they are now. They're astronomical. People don't get out of school without amassing a bunch of debt for 4 years even, right? Also, we also got to take into account that a lot of people who are going to school and getting these student loans, they're not getting them just because they're tricking off the money. A lot of these people need this money to live on because what they're going to school for, they can't get a job that's going to pay them to do that. And so people are also this argument too, well, why don't you go get a trade? You don't have to go to college. Somebody needs to go to college. Everybody's not going to go off and be a mechanic. And just like everybody's not going to go off and go to school, but they need to make it affordable. It is not affordable. And to Gary's point, there's a lot of people who are getting out of school. They're not going to find a job in that field that is going to pay them a living wage. They can't move out of their mama's and their daddy's house. They can't go start a family, it's a fact. A lot of millennials are not starting families because they cannot afford to do that. They can't afford to take care of themselves. And so while all these big giant corporations get bailouts and they get a handout and all this other stuff, give it to the American people because they're going to put that money back into the economy. If you get rid of your debt, people are more free to spend. That's just how it works. But to say be happy, take what you can get. That's why we are where we are right now, because we have that attitude with just take what you can get. No, we want it all. Brand new socks and drawers.
It's two edges on this knife. It's two sides to it. Let's look at the trade school side. Janelle says, and she's right, trade school is expensive too. But they twisted the game up years ago. Most of the trades that these kids have to go to school and get, they were offering that in high school. But they figured out they couldn't make money off of it. So they made these trade schools as a means to, once again, put financial burden on somebody's back. Now let's look at the kids that just graduated in in the summer. The kids that are going to graduate in December, they can't get a job because of the pandemic. But yet they're going to want that student loan money just like they want their rent money. Come on, man. We got to have some kind of, look, I know y'all support this dude, but at the same time, man, look, you got to realistically understand where we are. To me, I don't feel we're ever going to get back to where we were. I feel we're going to wear masks forever. I feel that we're going to be limited on employment. And somebody who has $100,000 worth of student loans that can't go get the job in the field that they studied in. That's not right. But yet, they ain't doing it in Canada. They ain't doing it in other countries. So why we so, look, man, we just messed up over here. And we don't want to admit that. We don't want to admit that. But that's why we're behind in the education field. That's why our kids don't learn at the speed they need to learn. These people are playing guinea pig, whether it's with, the cost of college. And I'm going to be honest with you, from a parental standpoint, it's expensive as hell just to send your child to regular school. When did regular school become so damn expensive? You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. It's common sense. What's up, Donovan?
Oh man, sorry I'm late. I just been doing some stuff. I got to be in the simulator a little bit later, but I made it. So that's the important thing. Lavar Ball again. And by the way, you guys, if you didn't catch Demetra K earlier today, she was putting it down on this very, very good topic. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on that a lot of us have been trying to tell you guys. It's all about the money. It runs the world. Money this, money that. Why is it that every time that a rich people need a tax cut, they make the poor man take the hit and pay the bill? When the poor guy pays the bill, you're in trouble.
And then, Angela, you said that's our problem. We want it all, and it will not happen. I'm sorry. What's wrong with wanting it all?
Isn't that what women say? Remember that movie where he was like, "What do you want from me?" She said, "Everything."
Well, here's my thing to her when she says that, and then I give it to you, D. We want it all. White folk want it all. They get it all. Asians want it all. They get it all. The Latinos don't want nothing, and they get it all. Why is it that when it come to us, we got to take this? Look, I don't want the scraps. I want, like she said earlier, I want it all, brand new socks and drawers, man. I want the same education on my side of town that they get on the other side of town. I want the same tax breaks that everybody else get. I want to be able to go to school like the kids in Canada and not have to pay for school. What's so bad about wanting that when it's accomplishable? It can be done. And just because black people are saying it, we shouldn't want it all. Angela, you sure you ain't from Mars?
Right. I mean, it is, and Janelle, I like what you said. You said the folks who don't want it all don't have shit. I tend to think that, we are so limited in everything. We're limited in our thinking. We're limited in what we should expect. And you also say low expectations of self. I don't want to be around sorry ass people. And that's what it is. Like, well, we that you being greedy. You shouldn't want it all. I mean, hell, how many times have the airline industries gotten bailouts? Ain't nobody saying, well, you're being greedy, you want it all. But here we come talking about, $10,000 is cute, but they need to do more for people with student loan debt. So how about people getting a stimulus package, $1,200? What, in every 6 months?
In 8 months.
But yeah, we should be satisfied with that. Hell yeah, we want it all. We should always want it all.
See, and a mentality like that, it's also regional. I don't know about where y'all at. Maybe if you're in the South in Houston, $1,200 goes a long way. But where I'm at, that might be 3 weeks at the most. 3 weeks.
Dude, And Angela says, think about it. Are we really going to get it? Why shouldn't we? Why is it every time that we need something for the African Americans? And when I speak of students, I'm speaking of all students. African American, white, everybody, Asians, everybody. Why should we not get it? Why should we not get it? Donovan is a veteran. And I love my vets. I love them, man. Thank y'all for what y'all have done. But I want you to go back and do the history. Donovan was a young black kid when he went in, as well as a lot of other ones. They now have a problem putting them on the front line and letting them get killed. How many senators, Congress people actually have children that are in the military, especially when the war pop off? Remember when Michael Moore did Fahrenheit 9/11? Remember when he stood in front of Congress in that documentary and he questioned how many Congress people, children, were actually fighting in the war, and it was only 2. Michael Moore ain't did a movie since because he told the truth. No, we want it all. We deserve it all. We've earned it all.
And also, Angela, you say, stop dreaming. Look what world we live in. Well, the world we live in is partially the one you voted for. You were so adamant in getting, somebody like Joe Biden in the office, and you're comfortable with him promising, or thinking about, $10,000 to American people who are struggling. Most of them, not talking about student loan people specifically, but a lot of people are struggling due to no fault of their own. But we keep voting for oppression. And so as long as we have low expectations, especially of Black people, no, we're never going to get it. And I hate to say it, Angela, so happy that you're here. But it's people like you that's messing up the rotation for the rest of us, because you go and you vote for absolutely nothing. You don't expect nothing. And then you want us all to be comfortable with just getting a little piece of the pie and want to be mad at us because we want it all. I don't go into a restaurant and say I'm gonna pay for all of my food, but I want a little bit. because I don't want to be greedy. No, I want it all. I want everything.
Well, she says she's not living in poverty, and she could tell us something that would make our eyes pop. Well, let me tell you what my daddy taught me. He taught me that if you didn't need to be somewhere, you wouldn't be somewhere. People show up every night on this show because we give them knowledge, because we give them insight. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you ain't living in poverty, you wouldn't be here. I don't see Bill Gates popping in this motherfucker. You don't have to listen to nothing we saying. But if you here, it's because you trying to learn something. So, baby, when you get to thinking that you the biggest cat in the room, you need a new room, man. Because honestly, unless you clocking 200,000-300,000 a year, you living in poverty. You may think because you able to go to the store and buy a jar of peanut butter whenever you want that you're not poor. You're considered poor. And if in your mind frame, if that's what makes you rich, the little bit that you have, then you already lost, sister.
And I would venture to say you might be cash rich, but you are mentally poor. You are mentally poor just by some of the things that you advocate for. You know, yeah, you might have your piece of the pie in the sky, wherever you know what make our eyes pop, but you're cool with advocating for the rest of people who are not in your situation to just take what you can get. You should just be happy with what they give you. You know, like here's a scraps type of thing. Nobody should be content with just what somebody just wants to give them. People live here in America and they pay taxes, especially if they working. They're entitled to have something. And I tell you what, since Gary put this Cash App up, I ain't seen you hit the Cash App since you brawling out of control and you here every night. I'm just throwing that out there.
And what people don't realize, StreamYard is running $50 a month. It's what it is. I keep the backup Zoom in case StreamYard goes down. That's an additional $15 a month. So, you know, we're not begging for money. But see, that's the problem. We don't support our people. We don't support our people. Some of y'all made some great conscious decisions in the elections based on the information that we gave you. Based on the information that we gave you. So, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I think you say there's always room for growth. I learned one thing from hanging out with the old people. I seen them put up a picture the other day of a guy named Mr. Glover, him and his wife anniversary, 73 years. And I put a post under his picture. I call him OG Glover when I see him and I shake his hand. See, because I'm always hanging around the old folk for one reason. They ain't get old by being stupid. They knew how to eat. They knew how to save their money. They knew everything. So I sit there and I pick their brains. I hold more conversations with older individuals than I ever hold with younger people because that's the problem. We think we know everything and we really don't know nothing. It is what it is. But I'm ready to get off into your man's man. Demetra, tell us where we at tonight.
So what had happened was, and Al just put in the comments that Melo was picked third. I think he said he went to Charlotte. So, you know, it was said that he would end up around between the 1 and 3 draft pick. And so he was picked number 3. Big ups to the Ball family. But anyway, specifically, Lavar was on a podcast. I forget the name of it. But he was basically saying that he told his sons that as long as they're in the NBA, they're going to end up get with per se is hoes, right? You're saying that said basically, and I'm paraphrasing, that they'll never get a reputable woman that, you know, is really there for them because, you know, being an NBA, you know, ball or whatever, it comes with money and fame and things like that. And he says the women that they'll more than likely meet will be at a nightclub or out to dinner or at the arena. He says you'll never find, right now you won't find a woman as good as your mom, and I guess he was probably meaning like genuine like your mom or your grandparents. Those women are going to be out to get what they can get from you. And he did liken them to hoes. He said hoes. He says most men who have average jobs or whatever, who aren't in the NBA rather, they might meet their woman at a store, or church, or school, or work, or something like that. But he's basically saying these women are always going to be gunning for you. So be wise, be careful, because those women are out there. He says, don't think that these women don't take the time to Google you and see who you are, where you'll be, how much money you have, and all of that. Because he says, 18 years of shelling out money, basically to a woman you weren't trying to be with is nothing nice. And so he's also talked about, they asked him, it says, well, have they been involved with hoes or something like that before? He said, yeah, they brought a couple of them to the house. So, he's just basically telling them, be careful. Don't go in there expecting to find a woman of value while you're in the NBA. So that's pretty much what it is.
Say, man, these hoes ain't loyal. Say, Lavar, now I'm going to tell you something. That's his fatherly instincts kicking in. When you're in that lifestyle, that celebrity status lifestyle, it ain't hard to get you one. The question is do they want you or do they want the money? And a lot of people will say, well, he didn't have to call them hoes. Well, shit, what you call them? What you call them? I mean, for example, not Tammy Roman, what's the Evelyn from Basketball Wives? How many she done slept with? How many she done slept with? And they just bounce and bounce and bounce. Look, man, the biggest hoes that I see is these sports hoes and these rap hoes. They just bounce and bounce and bounce. Say, man, the man spoke. He said what he said. I think he being a father, trying to protect his sons, because right now the hoes gonna come with money. And Lavar, I want you to put this on your conversation and tell them put some respect on your name. Down here in Texas, we got a saying: money bring tramp bitches all day long.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Funny that we're talking about this, and Dee has a little background in this as well. I'm wearing my flight suit, and when I went through flight training, there's always girls there and all these distractions. It's like in the movie Officer and a Gentleman. Remember, he was talking about the local girls. He's like, be careful of the local girls, because it's their dream to meet an officer and a pilot and just go away and live the good life, right? So those of you guys that have military experience or been to the bases and stuff, you guys have been there and you guys see the guy, because there's a rank structure, right? The high-ranking guy versus the low-ranking guy, right? I'm a middle-of-the-road guy when I was in. And I remember the one thing my father told me, because I was screwing up, about to wash out of the program, he told me, he said, son, whatever you do, don't let these girls distract you. Don't let the parties distract you. Get your wings, right? Get your wings. When you get those wings, the hoes will come, but you have to get your wings first. My father would have been adverse not to tell me that, because when I went through training, oh my gosh, the distractions were there, and I'm a black man. They're trying to wash me out. They don't want me to be there. I mean, I'm getting all kinds of N-words and anything you can imagine. When I went through flight training, there was eight black folks. 3 of us graduated, 3 of us. And it wasn't the academics and it wasn't the flying. It was the mental head games and the guys over here banging this chick, banging that chick. And let me tell you, and you guys know that have some military background, them girls would wait at the gate for you to sign them on post. And you go and have a good time, dance, and and do your get down. But what he told his son is no different than what any father should tell their sons or daughters, depending what the situation is, if they're going into a lucrative career. Would you agree with that, Demetra?
No, absolutely agree. I mean, I know it wasn't pretty, but it was the truth nevertheless. I think everybody should give their children advice, especially if you are going to be making millions and millions of dollars. Like, most of his sons, if not all 3 of them, are going to be millionaires. So, yeah, he's giving them good advice. Maybe it wasn't the way you would say it to your sons, but it's the way that it needed to be said. I'm sure he's talked to his kids like that their whole lives. But, we don't have time to be trying to, sugarcoat everything. His sons are going into the big leagues and they're fairly young, right? I don't know how much life experience they have, but they're young. And so Pops needs to be in there. He's their first coach. He's the main coach, and he needs to give them the best advice so they can survive that thing called the NBA, because we've all heard of NBA players with multiple baby mamas, multiple every child support coming out of every hole, you know, and they're broke and they're, I mean, I'm just saying it. So I'm sure Lavar sees that. So why not give them the game? Just like any woman should give her daughters the game. You know, don't go laying down with everybody because, as they say, mama's baby, daddy's baby. Like, you want to give them the best advice that you can. And so I just say, for people who don't like what Lavar says, oh well.
Well, I tell you what, let's dig off into it, because hoes go back 3 generations. If you a hoe, your mama was a hoe. And if your mama was a hoe, your grandma was a hoe. You learn the hoe game through generational transition. So what I want to talk about is season hoes. Now, if you've been to college, you may have never thought about it, but they have what they call season hoes. Because I figured out in college, when I was in there the first time, when I just was partying and just doing my thing, that hold on a second, y'all. I figured out that it was 3 people that got the women on campus. You got all the fly girls. Scholars, no, I'm gonna put them in order. Athletes, scholars, and damn fools. That's who got all the women on the campus. I don't care what you say. That's how it went down. So I used to always post up the first few days of each semester on the freshman girl dorm, because I knew somebody had been sheltered their little dumbass daughter for 18 years and dropped off at this school in the country. She got a car. I ain't got none. I ain't got no money. My mama literally sending me Fruity Pebbles on the bus. I was so broke in college. So I'm going to sit on this dorm on the front steps, and I'm going to find me a duck. And every semester I found one, because, you know, I was in them 3, scholars, athletes, and damn fools. So I was number 3. I was a damn fool. But I ended up with a top notch. But season hoes. You know what a season hoe is? That means when it's football season, she fucking the top football player. When football season over, they go to the basketball player. When that's over, they go to track or either baseball. Whoever the hottest. And if you've been to college, you know I'm not lying. Now, I want you to look at, let's go to, like I say, the Kardashians. If you're a celebrity, stay away from those girls, man. Because there's something inside their panties that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And they end up with them suckers that just empty their pockets and they do what they do. LeVar Ball was a father today. And he said what he said. And I'm pretty sure it's far more graphic when they sitting there with no cameras, because he going to tell them the real, man. And them girls, like one person say, man, I go to Rockets games, I see these girls lining up when the game over. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you another thing. James Harden is one of the first Houston Rockets to ever get out of town without a back injury. You know why? Because when McGrady got here, he hit them strip clubs. When Dwight Howard got here, he hit them strip clubs. And them young girls was putting humps in their backs like Halloween cats. So I'm telling you, yeah, them hoes is out there, man.
Somebody brought up, let's see, I want to see who it was. And tonight, how you doing? Bobby Brown Jr. died. Is that what you're saying? If we can get a confirmation on that, let's see. Curtis, how you doing? It says Ayesha Curry seems to be a good woman. When did Steph and Ayesha meet?
They met in college.
They met in college. Before he got,
I love LeBron James and his wife. They met in high school.
They met in high school. When did Juanita and Michael meet? Wasn't it college?
College.
Now again, I'm not saying there's
But
something.
the side chick still came. The side chicks are still there.
Right, but I guess the point that I'm making is those women that we just mentioned, they were there before all the glitz and the glam, right? Now I'm not saying there's not some a baller couldn't meet a
Dwayne Wade and his girl, Dwayne Wade.
yeah, but look what he did to her. That's a whole story though. But yeah, there's some cases where a baller can meet a woman while he's balling and she's good and all of that. But the ones that we mentioned, they was already there before the money and the fame and the big giant contracts. Oh wow, that's too bad. Bobby Brown lost his baby girl and now his son. That's awful.
Well, they always say karma's a motherfucker. So
well, Tisha K say my grandmother said old men will give you the worms. Some old men will just give you the dick.
Ooh.
And they got money.
Worms.
Yeah, so I mean, you say that old men give you the worms. But then you see a bunch of young girls around here with them sugar daddies.
And you know what though? That blue pill done changed the game for them sugar babies. The sugar daddy be shaking that blue pill bottle like it's
yeah, they eat that Viagra like Flintstone vitamins nowadays.
Ain't
exactly.
No candy.
But I really think that Lavar gave some good fatherly advice because at the point where LaMelo is now number 3 in the draft, you finna get some guaranteed money. Yeah, they gonna be there, bro. They gonna be there. And the thing about it is once some of them get in that income bracket, they ain't leaving. They ain't leaving. They don't give a damn what you do. They ain't leaving. Like who was that? Earl Thomas's wife decided to divorce him this week. Earl ain't making the money that he used to make either. He ain't playing ball no more. Kobe Bryant wife, when people was, she need to leave Kobe. I say, man, y'all crazy. That girl ain't finna go nowhere. Nowhere. And that's what it is. But I don't consider, her a hoe. I mean, but there are hoes out there that just sit around these athletic stadiums. They camp out around them athletic stadiums like they going to a Trump rally. They be around them, man, and they don't give a damn. It's hard to take kids to a pro sporting event where the hose is lined up because you got to cover your kids' eyes, man. See no evil because ain't nothing but naked ass. They ain't got no drawers on, nothing. And they be around there trying to come up. They looking for a come up. That's what they doing.
Yeah, for all my military folks on here, you guys remember what we used to call them, barracks rats? The barracks rats? They all up in there. Just come after the club. You go to the Waffle House or you go to Denny's, have your little thing at 2:00. You get them back to the barracks. I mean, they're just there because a lot of these people want to just get out of their small towns, and they want benefits. I mean, and I don't blame young girls dealing with military guys like that. And I'm not saying everybody's bad, but if I was a woman, and something happened, I want a guy that was in benefit because I can tell you guys a whole story of dudes that got papers sent to them and they got to give up them benefits, the ID card, the whole shebang, and just change their whole damn lives.
Yeah, so okay, Juanita and Mike met at his rookie year at Bennigan's, wherever that is. I'm assuming maybe it's a restaurant or something in Chicago. She still was there at the inception, and Juanita helped Mike build what maybe not what he has completely now, but she was there for a lot of it. And I'm one of those people, I ain't mad that Juanita got half, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, I'm a little bit shook with a whole Bobby Brown Jr. Being found dead. I really feel sorry for Bobby Brown, losing 2 children. And I don't know why, but the cost of fame, my God, it's just, I wouldn't wish that on nobody to lose 2 of your children.
The agreement is our children are supposed to bury us. We're not supposed to bury them. And I'm a big Bobby Brown fan. I've always been. I love this attitude and my prerogative, the whole persona around it. He just was gonna be him. And but the cost of fame is what it is, man. I mean, I had the opportunity in high school to to be in a movie with Denzel Washington. I forgot the name of it. It was about George McKenna, the principal out at
Oh yeah, yeah.
preparatory school in Los Angeles. And sitting there being able to talk, to actually just have a conversation with Denzel, who's one of the coolest dudes that you'll ever meet. And the first thing he told us, he said, "Man, I'm just like y'all. I just happen to do movies for a living. I still have to go to the grocery store. I still have to do the regular things." And you know, but he say this lifestyle some days is it's not what it needs to be. He say it's hard for us to get out and do regular stuff. We want to be regular. We want to go to Magic Mountain. We want to go to the movies. We want to do, but you can't because of who you are and the fame that you have. Like right now, Michael B. Jordan has been labeled the sexiest man, in the world or on whatever. Can you imagine how tough that is to be able just to have a normal day? And a lot of people think that it's cool, but some days, man, that's why some of these dudes go off or these women go off when them cameras come around, because nobody wants to deal with that every day. Nobody wants to deal with that. So I definitely will keep Bobby in my prayers. I mean, to bury two of his children, Lord have mercy. He's really a good dude. And me being in entertainment, I've had the opportunity to meet everybody I've ever wanted to meet. To work with some of the biggest people that I wanted to ever work with. And they're just normal people just like me and you. They're just normal people. And right now we need to wrap our arms around that cat, man, because to lose another one of his kids, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm with you. I'm a Bobby Brown fan as well. My daughter, too, she loves Bobby Brown. But since this is what we're talking about, Bobby Brown started off very, very, very young. Came from a hard background. Where they lived and all that. You guys have seen the story and know about Bobby Brown. No doubt he's made some mistakes along the way, but I don't think there's ever anything you can do that should cost you the lives of your children. We all know the story with Bobby, Christina, Whitney, the daughter he had with Whitney, succumbed to the same fate that her mom did, with drugs and all of that. But golly, and I agree with you from what I have seen of Bobby. He seems like a very humble dude, especially as he's gotten older. Obviously, he's settled down a little bit. But, it just, people think they want the fame, and Jeremiah says it all the time. He says, along with the fame comes the blame. So it's not all, glitz and glam and, all of that. There's that, as you said, Gary, that downside that people don't see. There's a lot of celebrities who just like, I didn't know. And if I had it all to do, I saw an interview with Cardi B. She says some days she wish she could just go back to her regular lifestyle when people didn't know who she was. And she always had to live up to these standards. And everybody thinks that she should be, and like having a life of ordinary people and being able to go where you want. People really don't understand until you don't have that.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm poor man famous. A lot of people know me in a lot of different places. I go a lot of places. Like in the morning, I gotta hop a plane. I gotta go to Minneapolis. I got work to do, and I'm still gonna keep working to help that community get back where it needs to be. But some people like, man, you famous. When I get to spots, I'm taking pictures and all that. So let me tell you what life is like for me when there's no cameras. When that day ends, I'm in a hotel room by myself, nothing to do. I got y'all at 7 o'clock. Outside of that, nothing. It's a boring lifestyle some days. We can't go everywhere we want to go because we become targets. And I'm being honest, I'm telling you what I deal with. I bought me a friend about 2 months ago, never opened it and just put it in the luggage. And I bought me a PS4. And I ain't played a PlayStation in 20 years. But it's a lonely lifestyle. And I was talking to a rich guy one day, and he even said, even when you're wealthy, it's a lonely lifestyle some days because all of your time is spent accumulating your wealth that you don't have time to even enjoy it some days. You don't have time. And I felt that when I was working offshore and I was making all that big money. And then I started running them stadium contracts and I'm always gone. And I got the big 300 sitting in the driveway with the big wheels, the TVs and the headrest. I couldn't even drive my car because I was never at home. You see what I'm saying? And some days, and what Carter said, I would always say that. Man, I just want to be normal, man. I just really want to be normal some days. So if you think that lifestyle is what it is, man, trade yours in and see how fast you come running back. Because if you can't handle it, it will mentally break you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Dimitri will tell you, I went and bought a car. Not that I was looking for one, but I bought this car because it was good. And I don't even drive it. I took it to the dealer the other day because they wanted to give us something free, filter, some bullshit, whatever it was. The guy looked at me. This car's now 3 years old. The guy looked at me. He goes, "This car doesn't have 12,000 miles on it." I said, "Yeah, I know." He goes, "Well, what are you doing with the car?" I said, "It just sits in my garage." He goes, "Well, what'd you get the car for?" I said, "Well, at the time it was a good deal." He goes, "But you're not driving it." No, because I still got my older car that I like to drive. I mean, there'll be days where I will be sitting here and I actually have to look at stuff and say, I just buy stuff just to buy it. Because there's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. And by the way, D, I did some research on that South Africa trip. I'll give you my information when we get done with that. Um, but yeah, it's a totally different life when you get out. The funny thing is coming out of the military, and you guys in the military know what I'm talking about. You got bills, you're raising your kids, you got all this stuff happening. But when you get to a point to where money is no longer the issue, you really do feel like, damn, I mean, I can go anywhere and technically buy anything I want and don't even have to worry about it. And it's a lonely feeling. It's a real, because there's no more struggle. There's no more, you're at the top of the mountaintop.
Well, Puffy wasn't lying when they did the song "More Money, More Problems." Yeah, you don't have monetary issues, but you end up with other problems. And I want to look at, say, Curtis Cummins says, so looking at Mike, Kobe, LeBron, and Steph, etc. It's not about the hoes, it's about the man and his ability to choose. Totally correct. But I want you to understand. Look at the ones minus Steph. LeBron getting old, so we'll put him over there with Mike and Kobe. That's a totally different breed of woman nowadays, man. Say, man, a lot of these girls out here plotting with their kitty cat, man. They plotting with their kitty cat, man. And God forbid they can get that stomach to swell up. Because if they can get on that 18-year financial plan, oh, it's game over. That's why in the end, I'm going to say this, and I don't know if it'll happen, but I'm just going to think Future going to end up in jail. He got too many kids, and he's not pumping out enough songs. So when he doesn't have the money with all that child support, he gonna be in there screaming for some decreases because it's gonna catch up with him. I mean, but it's a different type of woman nowadays compared to when Mike and Kobe, Mike met Juanita in a Bennigan's. In a Bennigan's, man. You ain't got to do nothing but go try to get in your goddamn car at a stadium and you can meet some hoes. Go to one of them Zydeco festivals. Dimitri, you in Houston, you gonna see them. Go to one of them Zydeco festivals. Huh? If you can't get a hoe out there, your pimp game ain't tight. Because it ain't nothing but naked hoes running around the whole building.
Yeah, we have a saying, we used to call them the Terminatrix. We used to tell our young troops, them Terminatrix, be careful. Because all they want, they want benefits. They're out there getting pregnant. They're out there doing their thing. Especially, and I'm not downing the Navy, but I remember when the war was kicking off and shit was kicking off, you had Navy chicks that were getting pregnant just so they don't get deployed. And they didn't care who was doing it. I was in Guam one time. The ship was going out. Those Navy chicks were at the Air Force base. Their husbands had just left and they were at the base. And you guys know what I'm talking about. They have a military background. Demetra, you're an expert. Tell us what's going on.
Hey, I was just at the on the base partying. Okay, I just needed a soldier to sponsor me on so I can go to R&B night on Sundays. Okay, that was all I was trying to do up in there. I mean, there's a couple other things too, but for the most part, that was my objective. But I agree with Curtis. It is about the ability to choose. You know, you ain't got. And this is why I know sometimes I come off as unsympathetic about the child support issue, but I mean, I know there's women out there gunning for your pocket, and if I know that, you should know that. So why are you laying down with everybody? You know, but so it is an ability to choose. You know, if you this big time super baller, you got all this money. You know that you walk outside, a hoe gonna pop out of a bush on you. Like they're everywhere. They're everywhere. So you should know that. Just because one approaches you, that don't mean you got to go out with her and lay down with her. You got if you don't protect your investment, well, I mean, who else is gonna do it? Don't get mad when she trying to get the bag because you done knocked her up, and she talking about, as I said earlier, she want $1 million a month because that's the lifestyle I'm accustomed to. He got it. If he doing it, you don't get mad when that's your situation.
Now that I totally agree with you on, because first of all, when you got hoish tendencies, sometimes it's hard to hide. It's hard to hide. It'll come out sooner or later when you got hoish tendency. So but the thing is in those guys' positions, and I've never been in their position. It's hard to determine if they just want to be with them or if they just want the money. I don't care what nobody say. Steven Jackson walked away at the altar. I've been telling you for months, we need to do this prenup. He trying to protect his money. It is what it is. She didn't want to sign it. The wedding day come, Steve ain't showing up. People like, oh, he wrong for that. No, he not. No, he not. He got to protect himself. He got to protect himself, man. Nowadays, you don't have a choice. I mean, if I'm wrong, look at Dr. Dre. Look how that woman tried to get that man money off the muscle. But I don't know how it worked in California. In Texas, Demetri, hopefully I get an invite to the wedding. In Texas, we got this thing called separate property. What was mine before you brought your ragged ass here, gonna be mine when you take your ragged ass home. You ain't getting it. Separate property. Now, what we build together, we can split. But what you didn't have nothing to do with, you don't have no rights to. And Texas is a community property state. But separate property, oh, yeah, they got a twist in the game for you, but no spousal support. Yeah, come on to Texas and get married.
Well, we're gonna move back to California. I'm just playing. We together for life, together forever, all of that, right? Yeah, I mean, you gotta protect what's yours. That anything that will go wrong probably will. You one of those people who don't like parting with most of your money, then choose wisely. I mean, I know it's easier said than done. And I saw Donovan put up the hashtag "What's Behind the Booty." I am going to start a podcast or something at the beginning of the year called "What's Behind the Booty." And this is really to benefit you men, because y'all get stuck on a big giant ass, and then a whole year later you got a child and y'all ain't together. She's this and she's that, and she trying to get you for your riches. So I, want to try my best to put you up on game. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with anything that Lavar says. You guys know I'm a Lavar fan. I love to see unapologetic Black men be who they are. Lavar is an alpha male, and he is not going to allow outside factors to tell him how to raise his sons. Can't be doing too bad. He got 2 out of 3 top NBA draft picks. So he's doing something right, but he gave him the best advice a father could give his sons. And, fathers should be giving their daughters that advice. You don't be laying down with any old dude, because I don't want to have to bust out my shotgun and go take care of homeboy. So I'm not mad.
I'm not mad at him either. I think it needed to be said. He needed to have that conversation with his son. because he's already been in that lifestyle. He knows the ones that were waiting on Lonzo. They didn't give a damn that Lonzo had a fiance. They were still waiting on him. And the ones that was waiting on him, all they wanted him to do was put that wood to him with no rubber and blow their ass up so they could get on that 18-year financial plan. So now he protecting the young one, because the young one is that one there is the rock star. He the rock star. So he already know. He didn't dealt with him overseas and probably, you know, had to get the girls out the room and all that stuff there. You see what I'm saying? It is what it is. But I mean, I have no problem with what Lavar said on this one, because that is something that you needed to tell me. I had the same conversation with my nephew when he left to go off to college. Say, man, focus on what you need to focus on. Watch them girls, because they're going to be looking to see who the top athlete is on the campus. And it is what it is. And just so happens he did what I told him. And my man's, God bless him, got married after college and has a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful kids, and he thriving, and I think it's going to work. But just look at the data. We big on data. Look at the data. How long do these marriages actually last? You know, it ain't no Momo and Paw 50, 60 years no more. It's Lil Joe and Shaniqua 2.5 years.
Two and a half years, you go your separate ways. You know, the bitterness is in between it, when there's a lot of advantages to being married. And a lot of people, you know, I don't know what it is that we just think that, oh, I don't want to get married, I'm never ready. Whenever I hear young people say that, it's not the right time. Well, goddamn, you got the baby, you're living together. I mean, you know, when is the right time? I mean, you're already doing it. And then if you're married and you got the paper, I'm not saying you have to do it, but I'm just saying, when you're married and you got the paper, it's very hard to walk out of a relationship when you have assets and things that are, you know, kind of going to it. So you're more apt to try to make it work rather than saying, well, I'm just out. You know what I mean? I'm gone. And then brothers, I always tell these young brothers, stop moving in with her. She should be moving in with you, because when mad day comes, and it's going to come, she has to get out your house versus you having to, you know, find somewhere to go.
I ain't getting out of nothing. If I've been there over 30 days in the state of Texas, I'm an occupant. You're going to have to evict me. I ain't getting out of nothing. That's why, like I told y'all a couple shows ago, man, I'm either going to be on the rental agreement or the deed of trust. I ain't getting out of nothing, and ain't nobody going to put me out of nothing. So when you come to see your boy, and I've been there over 30 days, man, you're going to have to go to the county court eyes, and you're going to have to evict me. I ain't going nowhere.
I wanted to address Angela's comment. She says, my mom said keep a separate bank account. Yeah, separate bank account is good, but there's a difference between a separate and a secret bank account. If you are married to somebody and you are holding a secret bank account, you already have problems, right? But separate bank account, yeah, sure. And I love what Steven Jackson did. He was able to make a decision on a split second right there at the altar. Everybody's there. The wife's getting ready to go down the aisle. And he was like, she's not signing the prenup, then we're not getting married. And the way he explained it is, he says, if this doesn't work out and go south, it's not just me you're getting my family. I take care of them. You're getting my children's generational wealth. And so I worked too hard for you to walk away with potentially half of something you didn't bust your ass for. And then I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to take care of my family. And so not too many people would have done that. A lot of people would have said, well, I'm going to just hope and pray that it work out. And then on the other side of it is like, they're screwed.
Well, Angela say, I'll be taking you to court. Well, you would have to. You would have to. Because I ain't leaving. I'm telling you now. I wouldn't be leaving. But I agree with Steve. You never once heard me say anything bad about Steve with that. But more importantly, she knew she needed to sign the prenup. She agreed to sign the prenup. Now, when wedding day comes and you don't sign it, say I'm going to the spot and I'm going to shoot me some pool, and your ass can stand up there with that preacher all you want, because you not finna get my money, man. You ain't shot now one of them basketballs. You ain't have to deal with the malice in the palace. You ain't know if you was not gonna never play basketball again. You ain't dealt with none of that. And Steve is from Port Arthur, Texas. You see what I'm saying? Steve come from poorness. Steve ain't trying to go back. So if you look, if you done did some of these drills and you done dealt with some of these crazy ass pro coaches, then you might be entitled to something. But that's where I would say that I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you anything, man. And it is what it is. Now, the separate secret bank account thing, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if we gonna do it, let's do it. But you know, the same way your mama told you to keep a secret bank account, my mama told me to keep a spare. Cause dealing with somebody that around here already talking about they're gonna be sneaking little mama, me and you ain't gonna make it. Me and you ain't gonna make it. I'm gonna be jamming that poke bear side piece on your ass every day.
Al is out over here busting up. I really don't have much to say about that, Donovan.
No, I mean, look, I'm in wholehearted agreement because you know where I stand when it comes to these relationships and money and things like that. Because, like I said, I've dealt with a lot of women, and they would ask me, "Well, we can go to Vegas and get married," and da da da. I said, "Oh no. Anywhere on the West Coast, I can't get married. Been there, done that. I have a lot of things to lose, and you only bringing tits and ass to the table, and that just ain't enough. That's not enough." For me to just go in there willy-nilly, you know? So wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's too many games being played nowadays, especially with money. You don't know who to deal with as far as money goes. It's too much going on. And just look at some of these divorce settlements. Man, Lavar said the right thing today, man. How much it cost Mike? How much it cost Tiger? Man, that was a lot of money, man. I don't give a damn what they did. I don't owe you no $100 million. No, 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 no.
If I was there from the beginning and you trick it off, you do owe me half. I'm team.
And that's why we gonna get. Tell Al pop his head in the screen, please. Al, pop your head in the screen for me, brother.
Al has gone back to his cubby hole.
Tell Al, I said, make sure that he marries you in a state that does not have those marital requirements.
How you know I ain't gonna be the one that needs me a prenup?
Well, do what you gotta do. Protect your interest. Protect your interest. California got alimony. I don't believe I should be taking care of you until you decide to get married again. And some of them so cold with it, they won't get married.
Get married, right? It incentivizes them not to get married and have that revenue.
Hey, and Tanya Smith said a mouthful. Marriage is a business, period.
I just think it's up to the people getting married. You want a prenup, fine. If you don't, that's fine, But listen, if you got money and we together and we got children and we building empires and all of that, and you out there slinging your thing around, oh yes, I want half, Your Honor. Matter of fact, I want 75%.
So let me ask you a question. And when the last time Tiger Woods' wife hit a golf ball?
And you know what? That's what he get. He got caught, not with just one, but 50, 11 hoes. This man had 50, 11 hoes.
And not one of them was a sister. So yeah, he deserved what he got.
Hey, he's Polynesian, whatever that is, okay? So he did that white woman so bad, he didn't even fight her. He said she can have whatever she wants. And I think that's pretty admirable. I mean, damn.
Well, get what? I got a rule. And if I was Tiger, I'd have just told her from the gate, before you go across that broom, and something happened and you come after my wealth, I got a rule called find me. Find me. You're gonna have to find me and my money.
Well, find your ass on that golf course when you show up at the Masters. Me and my lawyer is gonna be right there when you hit the ball into the winning hole and you put that little green jacket on. We gonna get our money right then.
Now, what I'm saying is, and I think y'all heard me. I'm saying if we build stuff together, you are entitled to half. But like in Steve's case, Steve had his millions before he walked in the door, before she came through the door. And that's why he was so adamant about it. And he wasn't going to take no chances on it. I would rather him walk away like that than to stay in there and get caught up, man. That's just me.
And the other thing, I know we're over time here, but the other thing is Tiger knew he was screwing the nanny. He knew she didn't come from no money. He knew she was a nanny when he married her and all of that. So, I mean, again, to Curtis's point, I mean, that's on the man to make better decisions. And Tiger's daddy told him, listen, you ain't ready, you know, to do your thing. And what did he do? He got out there tricking with everybody who wasn't nailed down, and he ended up costing him lots of money. So,
Well, it is what it is. It's your final thoughts.
my final thoughts is Juanita. I'm just playing. I'm Team Lavar Ball always. I love what he's said to his sons, and I'm glad that he is guiding them in the right way to make better decisions that's going to pan out for them in the long run. When they do settle down, they want to build a family, they'll have something left, right? Their wives won't have to deal with 100 baby mamas, you know, showing up at the wedding talking about congratulations. And so, you know, I think everybody should give their children that advice.
Well, I agree with LeVar. He gave his son some fatherly advice, and he was supposed to do that. I think more of us need to sit down and have these conversations with our kids. I mean, some of y'all have some kids that are doing some phenomenal things athletically in high school. You got to watch them from right there. You got to watch them from right there because they will be all over your kids, man. And you know, with mine, my nephew, one of the fastest kids in the state of Texas when he lived with me, and we sat down and we had that talk. He bring them little girls over there, and I talked to the little girls, and I would just tell them point blank, I'm telling you now, this boy do not have no money. What you seeing is my money, and you not finna get none of mine. So if you lay up with him and he pop a baby with you, y'all gonna have to figure that out. Y'all gonna be at the welfare office together, because I'm not finna do it. I'm not finna do it. So I tell you what, man, we're gonna end with no music because my phone died on me, but that's okay. I gotta get up out of here in the morning, fly up to Minneapolis and go put some work in, you know, with what I normally do. Check on my girl Luck, see how she doing. Check on my Panther partners and just go up there. But I gotta transition from 70 degrees to 32. And that's a big jump. But I'm good. I'm good. So I appreciate you guys as usual for what you do, what you bring to the table. Good conversations tonight, 9 o'clock. Love in the zone. Does size matter? We gonna talk about it. So you know, come through the door with your mind in the right place because you know 5 star ready for this one. I'm gonna leave it on the floor. So until tomorrow, the money man will be in the building, Walter. We're gonna holler at y'all, man. And on behalf of my good friend Donovan Sadiq, you know, he's back, he in school, so he in and out and he try to stay with us as long as he can. You know, he appreciates you guys too. So we'll talk to y'all. I'm gonna talk to you at 9, but the war zone, we're gonna talk to you tomorrow. We'll holler at you.